Welcome back, everybody. Dave XRPLion, and I'm going to give you guys a quick little tutorial on the new version 3 template that I just put together for everybody in its own downloadable PDF. So all you're going to do is go to my profile page, which is right here. You're going to scroll down and you're going to see version 3 template. Step 1, you're going to download the PDF. Step 2, you're going to open it up in Adobe Acrobat. And then you're going to export the PDF. Step 3, you're going to select a Microsoft document. You're going to save it to your computer. Step 4, you're going to open up Microsoft Word or whatever program you use. Then you're going to open up the document in Word. And then, as it says in step 5, you're going to put in your text boxes and you're going to enter your information. And you can use version 2 to copy and paste, and we'll see if we can get that incorporated into the video. So here's how you go download the video. You come up here to the link, and it's going to open up here as a HUMANITARIan flipbook. You're then going to come over here to this little picture. It looks like a cloud, and it says download, and you're going to click that. You're going to tell it where you want to save it. Then you're going to go and you're going to open up your Adobe Acrobat, and I've got it opened up already right here. And you can see all the pages 1 through 7. And right now they're all considered a graphic. So nothing is reading text because we don't want to come in and do anything here. Okay? So what you're going to do is come right back up to the top and you're going to say export a PDF. I'm going to click that. Now here's all my options. If you're familiar with Adobe Express, go there. If you want to do it as another format that you're comfortable with, do whatever you're comfortable with. You have the graphic element to put all the information that you want in here. Okay, so I'm going to select Microsoft Word. Now, this is what I want you to do. I want you to come down here to this little wheel for settings. I want you to click that. Now, I already unchecked this, so when you do it, it'll look like this, and it's going to say recognize text if needed. Turn that off. You don't want to recognize the text. You're not wanting to change that. And then also make sure it says retain page layout. Okay? You're going to hit OK. It's going to ask you where you want to save the .docx file name. Okay? Then, let me see if I have it open over here. I believe I do. And I'll just pull it across. Then you're going to see your Word document. Just like this. Let me get rid of this page right here. It's going to look like this. And I can see all my pages. Okay? Now, you're going to go in and select Insert, Text Box. Draw a text box. And you're going to draw your text box. I would remove the fill, and I would say no fill. I would go to the shape outline, and I would say no outline. I would then come up to home, and this looks like the appropriate font, 11, and you're going to hit bold. So let me pause it right here for one moment. Okay, so I did some housekeeping here on my screen, and I went and split my screen so you can see the template over on the left, and you can see my Twitter page over here on the right. And I'm going to go back in to the Canva document, which is pinned at the top of the page, and I'm going to select it. I'm going to tell it I want to edit the template, and it's opening up the template. So remember that this is just a template. This isn't a formal legal document. This is your ticket when you get to the Redemption Center and they see that you have already outlined the equivalent of a humanitarian initiative trust. This is what allows you to receive the temporary trust at the end, which then gives you time to go to one of the designated professionals that they give you information on how to contact, who will actually draft the legal quantum language trust, which has beneficiary information in it, all of the great stuff that would come with the trust for survivorship, etc. Beneficiaries. So what do we need to do over here in the template? Well, the first thing we have to do is we have to come up with the name for our trust. And that's already here. So if you're not comfortable working over here, and I'm not quite sure why that may or may not be, my first choice is to work in the template, because everything's already laid out. You're just editing. Okay, over here, and we'll call it the graphic mode, you're having to insert all the editable text from the title to the initiative to the date and to your contact information. Okay, but we're going to go through this so you can see exactly how to do it over here if you have trouble here. Now, interestingly enough, and I will take responsibility for this and I will apologize if I wasn't very clear or clear enough on how you pull down your template if you complete it in the free Canva format. You don't come down here and hit continue. Okay? This is an option they make available for people that want professional printing, but this isn't what I'm suggesting you do, nor have I suggested you do this. That's why it's free. You go up to the share button and you click share. You go to download and you click download. And then you're going to come up here to file type. And you're going to open up the drop-down menu. It lets you create a PDF standard, a PDF to print. And we're going to select PDF standard. Or you know what, let's just pick PDF print. Okay. I always suggest that you flatten the document. Flatten it. You're going to check the number of pages. You're going to drop this menu down, and it has all 7 of your pages selected, and you're going to hit done. You have options to pick colors. Best for professional printing. I've always left it at the default, but this says for digital use, which tells me it would be for putting on a web page or a post. And this is really the option you want, the CMYK. So you click that. Now, this shouldn't matter, this little crown that's typically associated with a paid account. So if you come in here to download and it doesn't work, then just go right back up to the digital use. It's not going to matter. And again, remember, this isn't being graded. Okay? It doesn't require approval. And I just want to make sure everybody understands. I have never made an indication that you have to get this approved, or it requires approval before you take it to the Redemption Center. Anytime the word approved has been used, it's referencing the format that has been approved by Ben Carson's group and the group that facilitated Susan Price and Colonel Mike in creating this document. Everything has a place and a purpose on the page. Every single one of these pictures I got approved through Susan that met the requirement. They had to be related to quantum. They had to be bold, vivid, and colorful. These boxes had to be a certain size. So there was a format, okay? So don't confuse a format that's been approved for use versus having to get some third party to approve it before you can submit it. So those people that are out there saying that I've said it requires approval, flat out lie. Flat out lie. So I'm making it very clear right now. The format has been approved. And the advisement to use the template, coming from Susan, coming from the instructors that walk them through, to the point where once they were done with it, it went to Ben Carson's group. And Ben Carson's group in the White House confirmed that they had followed the format and the document was ready to be submitted and could be taken to the Redemption Center to then receive the temporary trust document, to then take the extra time to have the formal legal quantum language document drafted by outside third parties who are trained in how to produce them. So just want to make that very clear. This is a test to follow directions. She made that very clear. That's why the graphic is flattened. And I've said this in the videos before. This isn't a test of your artistic ability. It isn't a test of whether you like the pictures or the layout or the colors. It's designed to see if you can follow instructions and put your information down by following the format that's been presented. Super simple. That's why we only have to add a few things, okay? So if you come over here and do it in Canva, when you do your editing, and you go to share, and you select PDF print, and you flatten it, you make sure it's all 7 pages, and you hit download, it's going to create a file. You can put that file on a key and take it over to Staples, walk in, they'll take the key, and you simply tell them how many copies you want, and then ask them to see some paper. I think what I used was 30-pound paper, so it's not super rigid, but it's a little more firm than your typical 20-pound paper for a copy machine. And you're done. It's that simple. And I believe 90% of the people were successfully able to maneuver within Canva to get it done. So it doesn't cost you anything to come over here and use this template. So we're going to quash that right now. Okay, so let's close this. If you decide that you want to copy and paste information over into the Word document, all you have to do is click on it, highlight it, right click, copy, come over here inside this document, Control V to paste it. There it is. Now I can see right now, and I'm going to zoom in here, I can see right now that it didn't retain the format of the text. So it's black. So all you have to do is come in here, go to your color, select white, and type away. And there's your text box. So every single one of your initiatives, and again, remember, this is just a ticket to get the temporary trust. You don't need to, I was talking to somebody just the other day. He said, Dave, I have 7 trusts. And I said, well, that's great, but you're going to have 1 trust and as many initiatives as you want to, but you don't have to list every single one of them in order to present this document. So just take 1 of the 6, because we already have some boilerplate standard language for the rest of them that you're just going to copy and paste over, and just put 1 of your initiatives here, your favorite one. Now you're not legally bound to this. Why? Because it's just a ticket to get the temporary trust. You're going to deal with all of the specific language that you want included in your legal quantum language trust prepared by a qualified and trained third party. And all of those people were trained by the U.S. Treasury Department. Okay? So don't make this a big deal. This isn't the end-all be-all. So just get it done as quickly and as efficiently as you can without spending a lot of time on it. That's why the little training video is like 8 minutes long. We weren't changing all these initiatives. But people have felt they had to put every single thing that they wanted to do in here. That's not the requirement. So I just want to be very, very clear. Just get it done. Okay? Like this one. Copy. Let's just see what happens if we come over here and we just try to paste it. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, so I'm going to back up. I'm going to grab this little text box, and it pasted it up here. So you got to kind of watch where things go, especially when you're in zoom mode. And just drop it in here. I'm going to copy all this. Control C. Done. Next one. Copy. Paste. Drop this one in here. Remember, I've got it in zoom mode, so I'm going to grab this one. Control C. Control V. And then if I have to come in here, I clean it up. Done. So I've got two of the 6 already done. Then I go to the next page. Copy. Paste. Drag it down. Grab this one. You know the drill. Control C. Control V. Done. And you just continue on. That's the majority of the work right there. Then you're going to come back up here and you're going to type in your initiative as simply as you possibly can, starting with these words. Okay? You have to come in and put the date. Oh, we're going to need a text box for the date. So we need to get a text box for the date. Now, you know what? I'm not going to do it that way. I'm just going to come back up here. I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to copy and paste. It's going to be big, but that's okay because I'm going to shrink it down. And I'm going to delete everything that was there. And then I'm going to type in 8/15/24 or 2024. I'm going to center it. I'm going to set it right here. And I'm going to increase the font. And I'm done. Now I just copy and paste that on each one of the remaining pages. Done. I'm going to make a text box for your contact information. You're going to put it down here, just like you see it over here. This process right here should take you no more than 30 minutes. Most of you get it done in 10 or less. Now you're going to come over here. Get another text box. Paste. And I'm putting a text box up here. Let me shrink this down a little bit so we can see what we got. And you're going to copy and paste everything in this box. Copy. Highlight all this. Control V. Then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to take it to 48. What is this? 48. There you go. Okay. I'm so used to doing everything over in Canva. You have to come up to paragraph. Because see, I've got some big gaps here. So you have to come in here into paragraph and you have to say exactly. And let's see what happens if we pick 12. Too tight. No, we're just going to take the time to do this right now. It's important. 18. Okay, so we've got a 48 font. Let's do 40. Hey, I like that. Now we're going to right justify it. Okay. And if you don't like this font, it's not my favorite font. That's probably too big. You know what? Find something you like. Again, there's no grading here. We'll just go with this one. First word has to be quantum. Then you have to pick 3 more words. So I'm just going to pick quantum, starlight, and remember, you can change all this when you do your formal document. Starlight, humanitarian, noble, initiative, trust. There's my title. You can come in here and give it a color if you choose to. And there's your title. Copy and paste it at the top of every page. All 7 pages. Now you're going to come down to this page. And you're going to put your name here. You're going to leave this blank. This is what you're going to sign there. This is what your Redemption Center guide is going to sign. And down here you're going to put any collaborators, your spouse, other people that you've already talked to that you're going to be working with for a humanitarian project. This was originally intended for people you could communicate with during the non-disclosure. During the non-disclosure period. But everybody's going to go through the standard 90 days from what we're being told not to do anything. So we bring the entire global humanitarian complex into alignment. So it looks like we have a little grammar element here. So that's fixed. Some of this stuff, it just does it. I spent 30 minutes trying to get rid of it, but it does it every time. So I fixed it there. This is where your notary should should you choose to do a notary, is going to do that page. Now you're going to come in here to your 3-paragraph narrative. Now, I put out a post yesterday, and this is the original format that came from Charlie Ward when I was on Charlie Ward's show with Susan Price. And Charlie said, if you do not have any ZIM bonds to present for redemption, but you do want to be included as a humanitarian, this is the minimum requirement to complete right here. You identify what it is your initiative is about, what it does. You identify why it's important, and then you identify how it's going to happen. So what does it do? It rescues all the freshwater species that need to be saved due to erosion, drought, etc., etc., etc. Why is it important? Many of these fresh and saltwater species could potentially go extinct, and this will guarantee their survival for the next 200 years. How's this going to happen? We're going to need staff. We're going to need resources. We're going to need land. We're going to need lakes, fish aquariums. We're going to need ponds. We're going to need everything and anything in order to facilitate us doing it. Period. That's it. If all you want is to participate starting at $1 million and you don't have any ZIM bonds, this is technically all you need to complete. And you've got, in one of the prior versions, excuse me, a narrative to take a look at. But again, it's not complicated. You're going to have to sort through the documents since we've had some revisions in order to locate it. But again, just put what's on your heart. Really, keep it really simple. They just want to see that you've thought about it. That's it. And you're going to have about 3 to 8 minutes to explain to them what this is about in your words. Okay? That used to be the end. Then others identified the fact that we needed to provide a statement of education, work experience, or other achievements and skills. This is just to make sure that you just didn't land on the planet and you don't know how to do anything. So here you get to show them why you, what special talents you have, what you've learned over your years, any special education that you have. Like if you wanted to work with troubled youth, well then you should have some education in that area. So, list your highest education. If it was high school, and what the years were. If you went to high school and college, if you went to high school, college and got a master's, PhD, whatever, just list it. Plain and simple. And then identify your work experience. What is it you did either in your college programs or in your work history? Period. And then put down other skills. You may juggle. You may be a musician. You may be a singer. You may do many, many other things that don't qualify, or let me cancel that. That wouldn't necessarily be looked at by the world as being part of your work experience. But everything counts. Okay? If you were a church leader, you went on mission trips, you evangelized, you went on treasure hunts, etc. You helped with the water baptisms at the ministry. I'm just going to tell you right now, this does it. I could not correct it. So you'll have to come in and put a Y in there. This is the last page. It's called Statement of Expenditure Needs. Now this was added when there was the fact that we were going to be able to get started before our non-disclosure expired. Now, I'm just going to tell you my viewpoint on this. It wasn't part of the original template with Susan. I simply added it because it became a narrative that was discussed. I don't believe that the average person has the capability to make a list of expenditures and know what they're going to spend. First off, you're not working with my initiative project, which is the collective, to understand what the off-planet compliance is. Second of all, we're going to help you in understanding how to set up your budgets, help you with your expenses and your expenditures, and make sure that everything's being accounted for properly according to the guidelines that I'll be receiving from the off-planet compliance group. So again, this isn't a big sweat. If you want to complete it, complete it. I don't think they're going to ask for it. It was just added to the package, so it was there. If it became a requirement, and it had to be done. So it's not a requirement. It's just there in case they did make it a requirement. I don't believe they're going to make it a requirement because we're not doing anything for 90 days. Now, if you want to treat this and you have some understanding of how to do this, then go for it. And look at it as if it's asking you, well, what are you going to do after the 90 days and you're up and running? But again, a lot of these documents were coming from what the procedures were identified, 5-10 years ago. Are they still relevant? Yeah. Are they necessary? Probably not. But at least what it does is it gives you a mental exercise to kind of begin to work through your process. But ultimately, you won't know that until you spend time with God and you discuss your process. Now, if you're heavy into office space and real estate and having to get people employed for your projects, well, that's going to happen right away. So if you want to, just put down some notes. And you could put $TBD, to be determined. Or just throw the wildest number that you can imagine in there. Staffing, $250,000, $1 million, $20 million. Acquisition of rental office space, $300,000. Acquisition of office equipment. Because what are you going to need? Quantum computers, printers, desks, chairs. $1 million. There's no wrong answer here. So just do the best you can should you decide to complete this. But again, I don't think they're going to be asking for it. It's just too much. The average person doesn't have the skill set to know how to complete this. And then again, everything's just a guesstimate, right? Because this is just the ticket to get to the real trust. And you won't even begin to know what you're going to spend until we know what the off-planet compliance is. Kind of the what you can and what you can't. But again, as I was telling somebody, a small group of people I met with yesterday, this is a journey, everyone. It's not a destination. And what does it say up here? Longevity-based initiatives for the next 200 years. How do we get to 200 years? Well, age regression 3 times for 30 years. That's 90. And then you live 90. So that's 180 years. So you can see how we can hit this 200-year mark really easy. And God said we're not to burn ourselves out. This isn't something we're racing to try to get done to be the first. And that's all factored into the compliance. They wouldn't be telling us don't do anything for the first 90 days if there was a compliance issue. No. So again, you have the basics that you have to complete. You get your title. You make your title. You copy paste it to all your pages. You just complete one initiative. Just one. Okay? Your favorite one. So they can see it, because that's the one you're going to talk about when they ask you to talk about your initiative. The simple fact that you followed this format tells them you're serious. You have a purpose and a plan. And of course, we're all working with God on this. Why? Because He's already created it for us. And He's partnering with us. He's providing the resources. And we're going to have plenty of resources. And that's why you're going to want to be part of the collective group when it comes to our ability to assist you through administration, so that you're not bogged down with the technicalities of how everything happens and you make a mistake. And now you get a strike against you because your documentation was not meeting the standard for off-planet compliance. That's what we're going to take care of for you. So you don't have to contend with that. We're going to make sure that you're not entering into agreements that aren't properly documented with quantum language documents. We're going to make sure that we have already vetted everybody and anyone that you are looking at participating with, whether it's funding or whether it's partnering on a venture, on an initiative. So we have your back on that. So you're going to be freed up to spend your time out working on your projects, talking with the people, spending time with God, and doing it in a very, very comfortable fashion. Okay? So I'm going to stop it right there. I think this gives you enough information to know exactly how to continue. And you're just going to do one step at a time. So we spent more time talking about what we were doing than the actual time it takes to transfer over information. Or if you're working over here on the Canvas template, you just type in the name that you want to use. And again, this is the name you're choosing at this moment. You could have a completely different name when you meet with the legal people. That's okay. This just says I'm a humanitarian. Okay? So with that, I bless you. And I thank you so much for your following. I thank you so much for the fact that you want and you have a desire to be a humanitarian for humanity and for the children. Take care.